this topic, for Valentine's today, we got to show our Accudemia account some love. And basically, we're just going to go over some of the kind of look and feel settings that you can go and set up in your account. And those could be things like your login page if you're not using single sign-on. You can customize kind of that background as well as what's on that page. And even the college name. If for instance, I know sometimes when we set up your accounts, it might just be under the college name, but if only like one center on campus might be using it, you can actually change or update what we have as your account uh, and change that name. So we'll see how to do that. Also, some other things are this homepage that the students, the tutors, instructors, and admins see. Those are all different views for each role. So we do have that. And even including like a little bit of the college and center news, how that's put on there. I was supposed to have that stop right about there, but you can kind of see it as it goes by there. Um, and then finally, we're going to look at the kiosk and how you can design. We have, a couple different methods of designing that. In addition, we're going to show you like how the buttons, at the bottom can be configured. Next. Okay, so to start off with, we're going to, look at customizing your login page. And to get there, we're going to go under Administration, Control Panel, Appearance, and Themes, but we're going to leave it set to the college level. So I've kind of just outlined the steps here. But let's go ahead and take a look at this in Accudemia. So, like I said, if you're following along, Administration Control Panel, when you get here, we're going to go into the bottom section under Website Settings, Appearance, and Themes, but we're going to just leave it at the university or college level. Once we're here, we're going to scroll down, or you can actually use these left side options here. And we're going to go to where it says login page, welcome instructions. So this is where I was mentioning you could change the name of the college. So if, let's say it's really just one center, maybe it's a writing center or something, and we have you just listed as like, your school's name. So you could actually go in there and change it to, you know, if it was a writing center only, writing center studio, and maybe you decide you want to put like your school's initials or something like that. So we're going to call our fictitious one Engineerica State University. Yeah, sounds good. And down in here, then we have the login instructions, and this is where I can customize kind of that background. Now you can see I've actually went really fancy and put in some code where it's using like a background image. Actually, that's this part right here. And I even made like a little black box with like some text in here that I wanted them to follow, but it doesn't have to be that complicated here. So if I go ahead and I'll just get rid of that for now and just start off, this is what you would normally see if you haven't configured this yet. So in here you have like all the word-like options to kind of build stuff. So I could even just choose like a heading, like maybe I would like the heading 3 is the right size that I like. And I could just put instructions on that screen, like please. Oh, I gotta be able to type ID and password. And I still haven't learned to type here to log in. And thank you, autocorrect. Here we go. Oh, log in. Okay. Anyways, once you've, debated on how you want to word that, you can go ahead and save that. I could even just add, let's say I don't want a background image, but I have an image on my computer that I want to, share or whatever. I could put that on there as well. and just use images. We have a video embed option. You can put links there. But for the main part, it's mainly just to help them log in. So I'm going to leave that, save changes. And if I go and log out, you can actually see, sorry, this is the kiosk. So you can see it changed the name of the college, and you can see the message that I put in there as well. If I wasn't a kiosk, it would have went straight to this screen when I logged out. So I'm going to log back in with my admin credentials here and just X out of that for a minute. All right, next we're going to go into customizing your Accudemia homepage, and this is going to be for all different types of users. And the way to get there is actually going to be under the appearance and themes. But this time we're going to look at homepage widgets, and this can actually be set at the center level or the college level. So you actually have two different options. And the reason why is when they first get to that page, the student or tutor, whoever's logging in, they have a selector at the top where they can change where that is. Now, if you're using a single center account and you don't have all these options, there's just going to be the uh, uh, your normal options that you had before this update come out. Okay, so let's go ahead and check that out though. And okay, so it takes us back to the control panel over here under administration, and we're going to go back in the appearance and themes. This time I'll go ahead and select one of my centers. And once it loads here, I'm going to go down to the homepage widgets. Okay, so in this section, what you'll notice is we have all the different types of users, and they call this visibility because this is what widgets we want them to be able to see. Now, by default, we do have certain ones that are not available for all the different types of users because the information doesn't really pertain to them. So you can see like on the admin option, we have like all the boxes available, but on the others, not necessarily. And you can choose which of these roles actually have access to those. So if you want to limit it further, you can just by unchecking some of the things. So let's say students only really need to see our announcements that we publish and anything about their appointments and maybe like emails that we've sent out. So we could get rid of some of these other options. These other widgets are also helpful. Sometimes that's why we have those here. Appointments would allow them to view the availability for making appointments without actually going through the appointment process. And managed center would be if you want to let the students see possibly if there's a wait at the center. But it doesn't provide as much details as if I were to log in as an admin. So it's definitely limited for those accounts. But I can choose, if I want to hide those until I'm ready to use them. Same with the staff and the instructors role. I've actually relabeled this, so but it normally would just say instructors, so I can choose, okay, I only want them to see the main things. I can also choose the order in which those are shown. So, maybe I want the appointments to be before the announcements, so I have that as a lower number, and it's basically 1 through, I want to say 10. And if you use 0, that's going to show up before everything. So, and we just save those changes. Now to view them, if I go back to the home page in the top right, I just need to make sure I have that center selected. So you can see on here, I'm logged in as an admin, of course. So I'm going to have all these different options, like maybe charts and graphs and things that my other users won't necessarily see. But if I log out and log back in as, let's say, a tutor. Oh, So this is Rick. He's one of my tutors, and you can see he has the news or announcements, and then the information about the appointments and messaging, but then nothing else. So that's the way I set that up. And we'll log out. I just want to go back in as an admin before we go to the next topic. And I'll just close that for a second. Okay, and next is the college and center news. Now there's a lot of other widgets that I'm not going to go over, but because this is a pretty big one where you can kind of share some things that are going on, happenings in the center, and maybe even around campus, I did want to show you this. And this is actually under the administration control panel, but instead of appearance and themes, we're looking at announcements this time. And these are the options that we'll see. So go ahead and jump over to it again. So of course we went to the control panel, scroll down a little bit in the announcement section, and the college can have them as well as any of the centers. So you can go ahead and select, and I'm going to go ahead and choose a skills and tutoring center. So you get three options here. This is the news that will appear for your center on the homepage. So first is the title. So you could choose to use the center's name. You could, make something up for like the news that you're posting about. The next section is your teaser. This is what appears on the screen without them having to click on view full article. There's going to be a button at the bottom to do that. And in fact, on this, I've actually written in there to click the button to see a full calendar. And the great thing about either the teaser or the welcome text is that I have a full, um, word-like editor, and I can even edit the HTML. So in this one, I was actually able to embed a calendar so they can see today's Valentine's Day and what other events that we have going on. So, but in here, like I said, you could basically use any of the tools that are here or go in and dive into the code if you want using this little button. Once you make those changes, just save them. And if we go back to the home page, for your center, you'll see the teaser text first. And if I click view full announcement, you'll see the full announcement that we had there. And I've even seen where people, like for instance, this one here, I actually added a virtual link. So if you're familiar with setting those up, this is where they can join like a virtual waiting queue. And so I went ahead and add that. So if I was a student, I'm not a student, so it's telling me that that link won't work for me. But if I was a student, it would take me right to that virtual queue. The other thing, if I'm looking at this at the college level, just while I'm here, it does appear a little different. So we didn't really configure the order and everything that we wanted those. So you'll see I had this upcoming appointments before it, but that's fine. But it does scroll through each of the centers news. So if you have multiple centers, it's just going to have these little arrows to jump around to each one. And it will scroll through them automatically if you just leave it there. Last but not least, we have customizing your kiosk. So this is where we're talking about you can customize the things that appear at the top as well as any of the buttons that are at the bottom. And to do this, we're actually going to jump back to the appearance and themes, but typically it'll be for each center because you want to design it at the center level, and we'll see the different options that we have here. So again, administration control panel, we get here, and appearance and themes, but I'm going to go to my center view settings. All right, and once that loads, On the left side, you can either click on the sign-in station screen, or it should be really at the top if you're at the center level. So we have two different types of headers. So you can either go with the full content, and this is where I actually just kind of put some information about my center. I added like a picture, a logo, um, just using the things that I had available here. And that would be the full content mode if I want to actually design it myself. There is an option here though that says logo only. And the difference with that, even if you have something designed here, if I choose that option, it's going to go with whatever logo I upload here. And if you wanted to, it doesn't necessarily have to be a logo. It could be a logo. It could be the school's logo, your center's logo. But it could also just be something that maybe, if you have some people that are good with Photoshop and you want to create like a banner for the the top part, just like as an image and customize it there, then you could do that and then upload the file, and it would just ask you to pick the file that you wanted. Now, some of the other instructions that are on the screen are if you guys have like card readers available in the center where a student can swipe their card, or if it's a barcode reader, put their ID in front of that. So you can actually change the text that's here. I think the default text says something like swipe your card or type your ID. So if you wanted it to say something else, you can change those instructions here. So I'll say place your ID in front of the barcode scanner, or type in your ID. So I can basically change that and then choose to display these or not. Because if I'm at a center where they only can type in their ID, maybe I don't even want this to show up as an option. So you can disable that, and they won't ever see that. So if I go ahead and save those and go to quick sign-in station, make sure to select my center and set up kiosk and log out. Oh, I chose logo only. That's why. So I don't have anything up there because I didn't upload a logo. But you do see the barcode message here. So if I go back and log in as the admin again and change it from logo only to, let's see, control panel, parents and theme for my center. And we're going to change this from logo only once it's loaded to the full content, save. And now I can just log out because I already have it set up as a sign-in station. So now you can see the full content that I did, as well as the barcode text that I updated. And they're obviously they can type in their ID as well. And then we have these buttons at the bottom. Now, you're probably looking at these that have like things like they can add themselves as a new student. They can see what students are in, what tutors are in. If this is client facing or like student facing, you definitely don't want to have some of these options here. So I want to show you real quick how we can disable that. I think that's the next topic here. So yeah, the bottom buttons. So for this one, we're going to go into the control panel, and we're going to go to the general settings though. And there's some sign-in station options there. And I'm just logging in before I drag it over. Here we go. So like I said, in the top, we're going to go to general, select the center, view settings, and sign-in station options on the left. It'll jump us down there. So we have things like, do we want to hide their ID as they're typing it? So that's one option. It doesn't really have to do with the buttons, but the next, I think it's like 4 or 5 options here does. And we have, where they can view the staff that are in. And if I were going to have this student facing, I may not want them to see what students are in. So I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that. And maybe because I want them to all come over from the imports and not be able to create themselves, we'll disable that new student button. And this one, allow homepage access. This is the idea of disabling this is so that somebody couldn't log into the backend and tie up your sign-in station. So some people actually disable that as well. The only button I think you can't get rid of is the change password. Um, so that will stay on there, I believe. And this one, it was letting them see what staff are signed in. So I would just save these at the top and log out to kind of view the changes that I made. Yeah, so right now they can see what tutors are in and reset their password, which may be confusing if you're using single sign-on, but if you have enough text on the page, it may not even matter. Because, for instance, I had to zoom or scroll down to see those, so.